Testing for carbon monoxide was negative. Causes of death for actor Gene Hackman and his wife Betsy have been revealed. Gene Hackman did not die of heart disease. That was the assertion of the last doctor who had examined him. A strange drug was found in the body of the film legend, which was believed to be the cause of his unusual passing, completely contradicting previous medical reports. To this day, doctors and investigators remain haunted by that day. The strange pill bottles discarded behind the house, the suspiciously clean and tidy home, the appearance of a mysterious woman, and Hackman's final fearful whisper, "Someone is watching me." Ultimately, what did doctors find in Gene Hackman's body? And which of his words terrified the media and was seen as an omen? On the morning of February 26th, the Santa Fe Police Department received an urgent call from Gene Hackman's neighbor. The caller said, "The lights in his house have been on all night, but no one has seen him outside for days." When the response team arrived, they did not anticipate that the seemingly simple incident would open one of the most enigmatic files in New Mexico. In the damp room, the police found Gene Hackman seated upright, fully dressed, with his hand near his familiar cane. A few steps away, his wife, Betsy Arakawa, was discovered in the bathroom near an electric heater. A German Shepherd was also found inside a closet, while the couple's two other dogs were missing from the premises. A few days later, the New Mexico office of the medical investigator released preliminary results. Mrs. Arakawa was presumed to have died from complications of a hantavirus infection, a rare microorganism transmitted by rodents. Gene Hackman was not infected with the virus and was determined to have passed away nearly a week later due to heart disease combined with prolonged debilitation and starvation. However, this explanation was quickly challenged. Examining physician Dr. Child stated that hantavirus-induced respiratory distress typically progresses over several days, and it is highly uncommon for a healthy 65-year-old woman to suddenly become critical without warning signs. This contradicted the fact that Mrs. Arakawa had conversed with the clinic on February 12th and was seen shopping for medicine, pet food, and groceries on February 11th in an absolutely normal state. The doctor also found that there were no traces of food remaining in Mr. Hackman's stomach, while the acetone levels in his body were elevated, a sign of prolonged fasting. An investigative source shared with the Santa Fe Reporter that the house was unusually neatly arranged, with no eating utensils, food, or any signs of recent living activity, as if someone had thoroughly cleaned before leaving. This detail led the investigation in a new direction. Did Hackman truly realize what had happened to his wife? And how could a sick person like Hackman live, unusually, for about a week before his death? The deeper they investigated, the more they sensed a third person, a faint figure who had appeared in the house during those final days and then vanished without a trace. A delivery man recounted seeing a brown-haired woman, about 50 years old, open the gate for the food truck on the morning of February 14th. "I thought it was his wife at the time, but after seeing the photo, I'm sure it wasn't Mrs. Betsy." No video footage confirmed the testimony, as all security cameras had been manually turned off since February 11th. But when the police questioned the delivery man, he only said, "I saw her once taking a trash bag to the truck." I asked if she was Mrs. Hackman, and she just nodded. When Betsy died, Hackman should have called for emergency services, but he did nothing. The house was very clean. The windows were all closed, with absolutely no signs of panic. The strange thing was that this mysterious woman appeared exactly during that sensitive time. According to medical records, Hackman suffered from advanced stage Alzheimer's with almost complete loss of short-term memory. He forgot to eat, forgot the way home, forgot his neighbors' faces, and sometimes couldn't even remember the people around him. It is highly probable that Hackman mistook this person for his wife. But one small detail made the investigators pause. In the trash bin behind the house, they found 2 empty prescription bottles, the type usually prescribed for the elderly. The strange thing was that there were no fingerprints on the caps. According to an internal source, doctors conducted specialized tests, and the results were surprising. There were signs of a strange active ingredient in Gene Hackman's body, one that can reduce the sensation of hunger and cause users to become fatigued, especially when prolonged for several days. A geriatric doctor commented, "If this active ingredient is used continuously, you may not realize you are getting weaker. The body will gradually waste away in a very short time." But, in other words, Hackman may have been driven to a state of exhaustion by that very mysterious woman. Hackman visibly weakened during the last 5 to 6 days of his life. He didn't eat or drink much and seemed to have lost all sense of time. Did that woman play a role in this chain of events? Did she only intend to help, or did she accidentally cause something irreversible? No one is certain of the motive behind it. Very quickly, Santa Fe police found a person named Gloria M., a housekeeper Betsy had once hired. However, when they arrived at her address, the house was empty. Neighbors said Gloria had left in early March, just days after the incident was reported by the press, taking luggage and a gray SUV. Police found no evidence that the woman had left the state by air. There were no travel documents, no bank activity, and no location data. But in Betsy Arakawa's file, they discovered an old handwritten note hidden in an accounting ledger. Gloria, 8:00 a.m. Clean bathroom, check, medicine. The words seemed like a familiar schedule, and that was the last time that name appeared before vanishing from all records. But the story did not end there. After Hackman left Hollywood, he was living an almost isolated life. According to neighbors, the daily life of Hackman and Betsy was quite peaceful. They only went out when necessary. In fact, people still saw Hackman healthy, still driving himself, and Betsy as cheerful, friendly. However, things began to change noticeably. In early 2025, the couple became more discreet, appearing less often, and almost avoiding the eyes of those around them. The climax was the haunting detail recounted by an anonymous neighbor to the Santa Fe New Mexican. The person recalled seeing Mr. Hackman sitting on the porch, staring intently into the woods. When asked if everything was all right, Hackman only whispered, "Something's not right in this house." When the neighbor asked again, Hackman simply replied, "Something is following us." The neighbor continued to ask, "Why don't you call the police?" Hackman answered, "I don't know what it is." Everything became more confusing, revolving around his wife's final hours. Santa Fe police